So we were talking about Maxine Waters, and so was Sean Hannity. We have a clip from his most recent show, I think radio show, where well, you'll see.
I'm not turning this into a gun debate. I know that's where the media will be in 30 seconds from now. That's not it. You know, as I've always said, I mean, honestly, I've been saying now for days that something horrible is going to happen because of the rhetoric. Really, Maxine, you want people to call your friends, get in their faces, and Obama said that too. Get in their faces. Call them out. Call your friends. You know, get protesters. Follow them into restaurants and shopping malls and wherever else she said.
So he said this within, I believe, an hour or two of the shooting before any details had come out, before we knew who did it, why they did it. You know, this is just an immediate attack on the left wing and on Maxine Waters with nothing behind it. He made up that this is somehow related to Waters.
So the same right wing that applauds Sean Hannity for saying things like that come after me. They say, well, you said it was Trump's fault. Well, Trump said he was going to keep us safe and didn't. Trump said he was going to do something about gun violence and didn't. Trump got bribed by the NRA to the tune of at least $30 million, and that is why he doesn't know anything about gun violence. And he calls the press, and in this case, the press were shot up, the enemy of the people. So you can see that there is at least a logical nexus there. Yeah. Whereas Maxine Waters said nothing about the press, is excellent on gun control, and never said to physically harm anyone. So the logical nexus there is not remotely there. It's not. It doesn't make any sense at all. Does not exist.
Sean Hannity would hear Martin Luther King say, "Sometimes I get discouraged," and take that as a call to violence.
Yeah. Well, there were people like Sean Hannity that did that as they were hitting him over the head with batons. They would say, "Well." And we see this with a lot of thugs and a lot of police states. They made me do it. They made me smash their head in, right? So, I mean, Maxine complaining about our ripping the kids away from their families. How dare she complain? You know, she made us do all the things that happened.
Let me convolute a couple of stories that certainly if people who follow Sean King have seen, but other people have been talking about the last couple of days. A police officer using a taser on a guy sitting on a curb in somewhere in Pennsylvania, rural Pennsylvania.
I think we'll be covering that in the second hour.
Yeah, all right. Well, so we'll have that story coming up in the second hour. But he shoots him right after he gets misleading directions. Straighten your feet out. The other cop says cross your legs, and they hit him with a taser. And then somebody, maybe the guy, why are you tasering me? And there is, you weren't listening. Like
you had it coming.
Yeah. What choice did I have? You left me no choice. You posed absolutely no threat. You were complying with 94% of what I was asking you to do. The other 6% was confusing. You didn't do what was in my head, so I shot you with a taser.
I have to educate Sean Hannity and the other right wing. That's part of our job here. Oh, they're going to get into gun control within 30 seconds. You know why? Because the problem is gun control. We don't have it. There's 250 million guns in the country. Oh, that was just a crazy guy. Of course, there's hundreds of thousands. There's probably millions of crazy people in the country. And we're the only country that goes, oh sure, have a gun, murder anyone you like. So here, I'll show you stats to back that up. Let's look at graphic 33 here. This is gun violence in the country and mass shootings on a chart with the number of guns. So the countries all the way in the bottom left corner are the ones with very little guns, and look at that, very little mass shootings. America in the upper right corner has tons of guns.
More than 300 million now, actually.
And tons of mass shootings. Gee, I wonder if they're connected. I can't quite tell. By the way, they studied whether race was involved. So does one race make a difference or a multitude of races? They studied whether video games make a difference. They studied every single thing. And the one factor that made the biggest difference by far was how many guns there are. And so here, I'll give you more stats. Americans make up about 4.4% of the global population, but own 42% of the world's guns.
Number one.
Yes. Number one. To be fair, Yemen is competitive with us. So let me give you those stats. Adjusted for population, Only Yemen has a higher rate of mass shootings among countries with more than 10 million people. That, by the way, they're in the middle of a civil war.
I was going to say, it's relevant that they're in the middle of a civil war right now. That some of those guns are probably American guns.
But yes, and we are competitive with a country in the middle of a civil war. A distinction Mr. Langford, that's an expert in the field, urged to avoid outliers. Yemen has the world's second highest rate of gun ownership after the United States. So the two countries with the biggest gun ownership per capita are the United States and Yemen. The two countries with the most amount of gun violence are the United States and Yemen. What an unbelievable coincidence.
I think it has to do with whether we're able to fire teachers.
Yeah, that might be it. And finally, let's take a country that does not have a lot of guns, see how they do. Maybe, okay, we happen to have guns and Yemen does, but Japan has no guns and they're shooting people like crazy. Is that because the video games? My God, the Japanese play a lot of video games. Violent video games at that. So let's take a look. This means an American is about 300 times, they explain in the New York Times, more likely to die, this is based on stats, 300 times more likely to die by gun, homicide, or accident than a Japanese person. America's gun ownership rate is 150 times as high as Japan.
Damn.
We have an insane amount of guns in this country. We also have a normal number of insane people in this country, as every country does, except all of ours are armed. So they do one mass shooting and massacre after another, and after every one of them, Sean Hannity comes out and goes, look away from the guns. It's not the guns. Trump, it's not the guns. It's not the guns. Those guys pay us. They pay us. We get paid and we profit off of your deaths. So it's not the guns. It's Maxine Waters.
I was going to say, it's not the guns, it's the black ladies.
Yeah,
it's the black ladies.
Well, the thing is, Japan doesn't have any Maxine Waters.
That's right.
So,
that's true.
But for the right wingers in the audience, just briefly, I understand that you're probably stewing in anger right now, and you believe that the gun control is a diversion. That if we were to outlaw guns in America, you would say what? You would say then the only people who get guns are criminals because they break the law and they buy the guns anyway. Why do they not do that in Japan? The citizens aren't armed. If you were a criminal and you got a gun, you could run rampant. Nobody could match you in terms of firepower. And yet for some reason, that doesn't actually happen. The criminals don't get guns there. It's weird how that works out in country after country after country after country.
And the same is true in Britain and in all the countries that don't have guns, because it is hard to get guns in those countries.
Yeah.
To note, included in that was saying that that we have some enormous percentage of all the guns in the world, and we're 4.4% of the population. I think it would serve Americans well to recognize that 95.6% of the world isn't from here. They live out there with the other people. And I think most Americans think that we are. I bet if you ask every single American what you think the average would be, what number, what percentage of the population are we? What would come down on?
25%.
Yeah, I bet higher. I bet like 31 was going to be the number I go with, but at least 25%.
And look, for the racists out there, in other words, the right wing, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, yeah, but those countries like Sweden, they have a homogeneous population. That's a code word for they're white, and we have mixed races, and so it's the blacks' fault. Then how come Africa and all those countries in Africa have a much, much lower gun homicide rate than we do? 2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below, then you're a TYT subscriber, and second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.